Well. The last time me and you talked, Mr. Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz.blog, there were 4 teams remaining in the National Football League. That number has now been divided in half, with the matchup for the Super Bowl 59 now has been set up. We'll talk more about that matchup next week. But on today's episode of The Prime, we're going to be talking about those conference championship games. Was victorious by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We're currently live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the Huddle Sports Network. You can find that on your Roku-enabled devices. I'm David Huffman from the Daily Blitz.blog. It's Mr. Christian Simpson in the house. What's up, Christian? How are you, my friend? Happy Tuesday, my friend.
Happy Tuesday, man. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I was a little bit under the weather yesterday and the day before. I did the polar plunge in Chicago.
I saw. Congratulations.
And I got real sick on Sunday. So I didn't bring a change of clothes because I'm not that smart of a human being, Christian. I don't know if that's breaking news for you or not.
No, it's not. I still like it.
I'm just not that smart of a guy. And I forgot to bring a change of clothes. So I had to walk around downtown Chicago in my soaking wet, cold clothes for over an hour.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And I felt like death the next day. I was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But I got to sit at home and watch football, so I can't complain about that too much. As we have 2 teams and now are going to represent each team in their respective conference in the Super Bowl as that matchup has been set up. Let's talk about it today. First, we're going to start in the NFC because a lot less conversation, a lot less controversial in the NFC as the Philadelphia Eagles hung up 21 points in the final frame to win this game. This game was fairly competitive up until the halfway point in the third quarter when the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley imposed their will. 55-23, Philadelphia moves on to the Super Bowl.
59.
Yeah, Super Bowl 59, yeah. Sorry. Homie just messaged me on Facebook. I was making sure it wasn't TJ saying he was in the show, as he is fashionably late, as always. Anyways, Jaden Daniels, 29-48, 255 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He also had the lone rushing touchdown for the Commanders. Zach Ertz had the most receiving yards by any wide receiver in any of the any player in the conference championships. Comes up short though. 11 for 104. Terry Scary McLaurin had the lone receiving touchdown for the Commanders. On the other side, Jalen Hurts was just super efficient. 20-28, 246 yards and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley had 3 touchdowns. And just for good measure, they dusted off Will Shipley, and he had a touchdown. And then Jalen Hurts also had 3 rushing touchdowns. And fun fact, just because, we love hating the Dallas Cowboys here at Prime Sports World, the 7 rushing touchdowns that the Philadelphia Eagles scored in this one game alone was more than the Dallas Cowboys had for the entire season. They only had 6 rushing touchdowns for the entire year. Philadelphia eclipsed that in just one outing. A.J. Brown had the lone receiving touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles as they got up big, and they never looked back in this game as they basically cruised to the final frame in this game.
Yeah, and David, I have been telling you, even during that winning streak during the regular season, I thought the Eagles were the most complete team in the NFC. And you can't sit here and tell me they haven't heard all the rumblings. Oh, they barely got by Green Bay, didn't look all that great against the Rams, and they went out and I think just took out all that anger and frustration on a divisional rival in the Washington Commanders. Jalen Hurts couldn't have picked a better time to have his best game of the season. He was efficient.
Yeah. I mean, he had a virtuoso performance, as he likes to point out.
Yeah, as you like to say. He was efficient. He had time to throw the ball from the pocket, but Saquon Barkley is the tone setter for this entire Philadelphia Eagles offense, and he's just as valuable to his team as Josh Allen is to the Bills and what Lamar Jackson has been to the Baltimore Ravens. It should just be those 3 for the MVP running, and that's it in my opinion. Eagles did all they could on defense, and the Washington Commanders have nothing to hang their head about. The future is tremendously bright. I just hope they continue to build around Jaden. Magic and company and the GM, they're gonna get that right. They're gonna continue to add players. Guys want to play in Landover now. You couldn't really say this about a
Yeah,
decade or two ago.
yeah.
But congratulations
I
to
mean, the other thing that Jaden Daniels has done, not only has he put a lot of pressure into his own rookie class, right, the class that he's currently part of, he's also put a ton of pressure into the next upcoming rookie class, because the same thing that happened with CJ Stroud, right? Like CJ Stroud, like all of those rookies are coming into the class, like they're going to be compared to CJ Stroud, and Jaden Daniels has put that bar even higher than the CJ Stroud bar from the year before. And yeah, in Washington, you just went up against a team, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're just better than you. I mean, your story's been great. I mean, you beat the Lions team, and you beat was it Tampa Bay as well to get where you are now.
round. Yeah, you beat Tampa Bay.
And you just ran into a buzzsaw that is the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's be frank, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be tough to beat, even with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk about them a little bit more here in a few minutes. But like this is a Philadelphia team that is built different than most of the other teams in the NFL. They want to run the ball. They want to establish tempo and I mean, when you talk about some of the numbers here, I mean, the numbers are not. It's like when you look at the numbers between these two football teams, it doesn't look like a 30-point blowout. Like it's time possession, 29 minutes and 29 seconds for the Washington Commanders. Philadelphia, 30 minutes and 31 seconds. First downs, 22 for the Commanders, 28 for the Philadelphia Eagles. 350 yards of total offense, 459 for the Philadelphia Eagles. The most glaring stat and number is the 4 turnovers. And you were able to overcome some of those mistakes against a team that is had a bunch of injuries in the Detroit Lions when you had some turnovers there. But when you're Philadelphia, you're going up against the Eagles team that's healthy. You had Zach Bond, who's just been incredible in Philadelphia. Also was their other linebacker, also played extremely well in this game as well. The one that punched out, what is his name?
Oh, Nolan Smith.
No, that's not it. It's hold on. I'm gonna have to figure this out now. Hold on. It's not Nolan Smith. Whoever Oren Brooks. So he's the one that punched the football out of, I think, Zach Ertz's arms and caused that fumble. That basically was like the turning point of the game. Or it may have been De'Ami Brown. Sorry, I apologize. De'Ami Brown. So but yeah, I mean, this is an Eagles team that just is a absolute juggernaut. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, also, you had only 3 sacks to 2 sacks. Like overall, these two teams played fairly close football. They just, if you turn the ball over 4 times against the division rival in the NFC Championship game, you're going to lose.
Yeah, but like I said, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this team is scarier now than what they were 2 years ago when they won the NFC. And I know Nick Sirianni has gotten a bad rap, but look, this guy has the most wins within his first 4 seasons of any head coach.
Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback to return to the Super Bowl after losing in a Super Bowl since Jim Kelly. Not that we want to put that Jim Kelly bugaboo on, losing 4 Super Bowls in a row, but it's still impressive. Like Jalen Hurts, has been steady. I mean, he's been everything you could have wanted in a franchise quarterback over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, definitely. And the way I look at it, Philly, like I told you, I thought they were the most complete team in the NFC. They dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They play well as a defense together, collectively. When guys go down, like they're missing Nakobe Dean. And Nakobe Dean is a very important part of the puzzle in for the Philadelphia defense. Offensively, they're balanced. But Saquon Barkley, David, I know it's different sports, but Saquon Barkley's impact is similar to Kevin Durant for the Golden State Warriors. He just put them over the top.
Yep. I mean, as a Giants fan, you got to be kicking yourself that they let this guy walk.
And how many times I tell you? I don't care.
I know, but as a Giants fan, all of the teams had an opportunity to bring Saquon Barkley in, and none of them were able to. The Philadelphia Eagles got this guy, and he's 30 yards away from breaking Terrell Davis's record of most rushing yards in a season, like regular season and postseason. He's like 30 yards away. So either he's going to break that record and win the football game, or the Kansas City Chiefs are going to stifle them and they're going to go on to be a three-peater. So,
I mean, I know there's the possibility of him not winning MVP, but he's a lead pipe lock to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't even think. Look, because for the longest,
I'm not even sure who the other people even are in that race.
It's probably him and Jamar Chase. Because for a while, I was saying Jamar. Best I've seen Jamar look ever in the NFL. And I mean, he did win the Triple Crown. And when he won the Triple Crown, I just said to myself, okay, yeah, there's a possibility he could win Offensive Player of the Year. Then the day later, Saquon joins the 2,000-yard rushing club, which is so rare. In the minute a running back joins the 2,000-yard rushing club, they're automatically the Offensive Player of the Year. The last running back to do it was Derrick Henry.
Yep.
I mean, the last time we saw a running back eclipse 2,000 yards was Derrick Henry in 2020.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're the Commanders, though, what do you think their offseason priorities should be real quick before we move on to the other game? Like, if you're looking at some holes in this roster, Zach Ertz has stated that he wants to return for another season in the NFL. Hopefully, he's a free agent, so hopefully he can return to watch the Commanders. I think he's been good for them. Just looking at their roster, what do you like? Also, did you see that Jalen Carter when he popped Tyler Biadasz? Tyler Biadasz didn't return to that game. Like, he was just done. Like crazy.
Jalen Carter is a bully. But no, I want to see the Washington Commanders. They need a run stopper. And I mean, I think that's pretty evident after what you saw, what they gave up in the NFC Championship game. You know, you're going to see Saquon 2 times a year. When Dallas is done being stubborn, they can run the ball. And they're actually a pretty doggone good football team when they run the football. So you need lane eaters. You need guys in the middle of that defensive line that can seal the lane, and they can allow the playmakers behind you. I'm talking those linebackers. I'm talking those safeties and defensive backs to naturally make plays upon the football, David.
Let's change gears a little bit and swing from the NFC back over into the AFC. And Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. He makes the plays when they need to have it, and they win the football game. As they've only lost one playoff game against Tom Brady in the history of Patrick Mahomes' illustrious playoff career. 32-29, Kansas City. I know there's a lot of conversation about the 4th down play. That in my opinion, yes, it was a big play in the game, but that is not the absolute play that cost them this game. Let's go through the stats a little bit. Josh Allen was pretty good in this game, great. 22-34, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. James Cook, which was extremely efficient in the running game and in the passing game, and they just kind of seemed to go away from him in the latter stages of the 4th quarter. 13 carries for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a crazy touchdown on 4th down and a touchdown the Bills had to have to tie this game up. Matt Collins was the other really impressive offensive player, as nobody else was really overly impressive on offense for Buffalo. 3 for 71 and a touchdown for Matt Collins. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes, not the best day at the office, but did enough to win. Had a fumble. He threw 1 touchdown. He ran for 2 more. Kareem Hunt ran for a touchdown. Xavier Worthy had a touchdown. As the Kansas City Chiefs, they welcome in the Buffalo Bills into their house, and they do what they always do. They win games that matter. And Buffalo, this is going to be a tough pill to swallow because you had a real opportunity to win this game. And that 4th down play aside, I just like them using the weird quarterback. Like, I would have rather, James Cook was cooking in this game, no pun intended. I would have loved to have seen him get more than 13 carries in this game. I just don't, it's a real head scratching decision, like why they went away from him when that was pretty effective in their offense.
Yeah. And he was my X factor coming into the game, David. And it seemed like every time he touched the ball, good things were happening. And I know a very wise man always says to let James cook, all pun intended. And anytime, like I said, look, he had a great game in the wild card game against Denver. Against Baltimore, he made a couple of key runs, and even in this game against Kansas City. But I look at the opening portion of the game for Buffalo, and Josh Allen was nervous because there were 2 passes that should have been intercepted right then and there early on. But he looked settled in. He was spreading the ball around, found Khalil Shakir a couple of times, found Matt Collins, Curtis Samuel. But, for Buffalo to get this far, and their receiving core wasn't that great, that speaks volumes about what type of coach Sean McDermott is, but I agree with you. They got away from him down the stretch, and unfortunately, it shot them in the foot and it cost them a chance because
It,
they were
it,
when they were
it,
winning.
it absolutely that decision to straight to like move away and have Ty Johnson be the running back in the fourth quarter cost them a chance in the Super Bowl. Like
I agree.
James Cook was playing out of his mind. Like he was playing really good football, and like in the passing game and in the running game, like he was averaging 6.5 yards per carry. He averaged nearly 16.9 yards, 16.3 yards per pass catch, and they had a hard time stopping James Cook. And Josh Allen, yes, he's a very big man, he's a very large man, but those quarterback sneaks were not. They were Kansas City was ready for him, and after the first like 3 or so didn't work, you have to find something else to do, and you cannot like. And we're talking about the controversial call. Yes, that call, I think they got it wrong. But
I agree with you.
I think they got that call wrong. But you cannot like put it in the hands of the official. We've already seen on multiple plays where that exact play was just not effective for Buffalo. And yet in the biggest moment where you got to have it, you run the same play that was ineffective all day. And like, because they tried it on a couple like 2-point conversions on as well. That neither of that did not work either. It was just real head scratching, that decision making. And you got to kind of feel for Dalton Kincaid. You know, you got to catch that ball. Like you have to catch it. You have to.
Yeah,
that's a play that, not to compare him to Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce makes that play.
Yeah,
you know, Mark Andrews makes that play. You know,
does he? Does he?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Sure.
Because it's weird. It does seem like karma deja vu that they end up losing the game on like a very similar way. Yeah, they beat Baltimore.
Look, I'll say this one. It was another great matchup. This did not disappoint. And I don't know about you, David, but I truly get the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning feel whenever these two teams play. We get this matchup every year in the regular season, and somehow, some way, they find a way to meet each other in the postseason. Josh owns them in the regular season. Patrick owns them when it matters most, which is in the playoffs. But you got to give the Chiefs credit. The way they're similar to the Patriots is they're always prepared. They're well coached. Yep. They're ready for whatever, and they're always prepared.
And also, like Steve Spagnuolo, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame as a coordinator. Like the fact that he dialed up the perfect blitz at the perfect moment, like, which is textbook Steve Spagnuolo. And the crazy part is, Josh Allen like put the ball where it needed to be. Like, how he even saw Dalton Kincaid, and like how he was able to even get the ball that far as he's falling backwards. Like, it's just a testament to like his talent. Like,
yeah, and you know, I see a lot of people on social media talk about, he should have got the ball to Khalil Shakir. No, he shouldn't have, because the way that pressure was coming in, there was no way he would have been able to connect the ball. Josh had to get rid of that ball. Yeah, I don't like the way he did it, but hey, the Bills, once again, they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. And why do I have a feeling it might come down to these two again for the AFC next year?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but these two teams were super evenly matched. I mean, if you look at the numbers across the board, like 374 yards in total offense for the Buffalo Bills, 22 first downs, 30 minutes and 32 seconds of time possession. Kansas City, 368, 1 turnover, 28 first downs, and then 28 minutes and 28 seconds of time possession. Like, this is as close a matchup, which is reflected by the scoreboard. I mean, 3 points.
Yeah.
I just think, I also think that like the conversation around Kansas City, like I think that the NFL is gonna, like, they talked a little bit around. I was getting some stuff done on my car yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And I happened to put on the Pat McAfee show, and they had Adam Schefter on it. And he was talking about like how they were testing like this chip in the football that was supposed to be able to like GPS track it to like where it's located on the field, which would like remove the chain gang. But apparently it took so long to execute that they decided that to scrap it for this season. But I mean, this is 2025, man. We can't have games that are decided by like human error, if that's what you want to call it, or just officiating. Like, there's got to be something else here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like a lot of the people, like the people that are out there, like they're not talking about the fact that Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes made the plays that he needed to play. He took what the defense gave him. They're talking about officiating, and it's just like it gets like I get so tired of that conversation. Like I don't want to hear like, yeah, that's like, oh, they missed a hold call there. Like they could miss a hold call on every play. It's just like it just drives me crazy. Like the officiating conversation drives me crazy in general. And like I think if we there were like, especially in playoff games, if like there was a committee that was overwatching the crew on the field and be like, hey, you messed this call up, let's fix it and move on. It would take 3 minutes. I don't know if you feel the same way or what.
I mean, look, the Chiefs make the plays when they have to. No, it hasn't been pretty. It hasn't looked pretty. No, it hasn't been the best style of play. But the one thing I will say about each of their teams that have made the Super Bowl is they've all been different. You look at the first 2 times they made the Super Bowl. The first one they won, they had a very explosive offense. McCole Hardman could create down the field. Kelsey was a little bit younger. Tyreek Hill was the number 1 wide receiver. Then the second one that they win when they played Philly the first time, it was more of a dink and dunk, taking what the defense gives you, because a lot of teams now saw, hey, we're going to keep 2 safeties high. We're going to keep everything underneath. We're going to play coverage, and you're going to earn everything. And Mahomes has really adapted, and that's what I think sets him apart from so many different quarterbacks. These last 2 years, they've done it with defense, David. They've done it with running the football. I mean, Kareem Hunt looked rejuvenated on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that duo of him and Isaiah Pacheco, that could be something in a couple of weeks.
So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean the better team won. All officiating stuff out. Buffalo Bills, I think they're still going to be back here next season. They need to shore up this wide receiving core. I think like I especially thought that Amari Cooper would have more of an impact on this football team after they traded for him, but he just never really materialized.
I think he was still. I don't know. I think he was kind of injured because I know he missed a couple of games, but it just seemed like he and Josh could never really get on the same page. If anything, look, Josh's best receiver this year, his top target was Khalil.
Yeah. And I know that they want Dalton Kincaid to be kind of that guy too. Like I think he's talented, but you gotta catch that football. You just have to.
So if you're Bub, what would you do if you're the Bills in the offseason? Would you go for a wide receiver in the draft, or would you?
Well, I still think they have I think they have more of a glaring hole at edge rusher, as opposed to like I think in the first round I think you need to go edge rusher. I think Von Miller's getting up there in age. He was less effective as the season went on. I don't think you can rely on him to really be the Von Miller of old. Yeah, I think that's their number 1 need. I also think they have some holes in the secondary. I mean, Christian Benford probably should never have played in this game. They cleared him in question protocol. He basically got injured immediately. You just hate to see it. They need help in the secondary. They need help in the safety. Like Taylor Rapp gets hurt. They couldn't really replace either of those 2 guys in this game.
Yeah, and I think the most questionable thing for Buffalo in this one was, why didn't you take Rasul Douglas and put him on the guy that Patrick Mahomes was targeting? Or even that, Kyer Elam was a liability, and the Chiefs smelled that in the blood right then and there. But if you're Buffalo and you know that, why wouldn't you keep a safety high on his side? You're keeping him on an island.
Yeah. And I mean, and then when you have to have a stop at the end, I mean, you're unable to pick up the Kansas City Chiefs off the field. That's a lot more of an Andy Reid and his just ability to coach, like a wizardry as coaching, as we always see out of Andy Reid.
Best coach in the league, and it's not even close.
Yep, 100%. Before we get up out of here, let's do game balls, brother. Let's go. Conference championship game balls from Prime Sports World. I'll let Mr. Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz blog have the floor.
Man, I'm giving it to Jalen Hurts. 20 of 28, 246 yards, and he threw that 1 touchdown pass. And yeah, the 1 touchdown pass may not be glaring, but he was efficient. He was completing his passes. He didn't force the ball. He took what the defense gave him, and like I said at the top of the show, he could not have picked a better day to have his best game of the year.
I know Saquon Barkley probably deserves one of our game balls, but I'm actually going to go Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was he was a free agent. Anybody could have had him on their football team. And his career has really been super rocky since obviously all that other stuff off the field. We're not going to talk about that here today, but Kareem Hunt has rejuvenated his career. He looks like a different guy than what we saw at Cleveland last season, where he just didn't look like the same running back. He comes to Kansas City. He comes to a system he's familiar with. He comes to a coaching staff he's familiar with. He comes to a quarterback he's familiar with. And he was one of the difference makers in this game. He runs with purpose. He runs with passion. 17 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt gets my game balls. It would have been easy for Kareem Hunt to be like, I kind of did everything I wanted to do in the National Football League. I don't need to go pursue anything else. But Isaiah Pacheco goes down. Kansas City calls Kareem Hunt, and he's been everything they've needed from him this season.
I like that one. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I know we're about to get out of here, David, but I say, look, I do this with Izzy all the time on College Football Showdown, so now I got to bring it to you. Little early teaser of Super Bowl 59.
Oh.
This is going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, Philly has something that they didn't have 2 years ago, and that's Saquon Barkley. The Chiefs, you're seeing championship pedigree on full display. They know how to win games. Hate it or love it. They're still going to be tough to beat these next couple of years. I just can't wait to see, two great defensive coordinators and what they're going to do to limit these offenses. Steve Spagnuolo, Vic Fangio.
Two good Sirianni and Sirianni going
head to head. I mean, I want to see how the Chiefs defense, what they're going to do to prepare for Saquon Barkley. They have all the time in the world, and it just seems like there's no answer. Sit in that box, and he's still going to find a way around a loaded box. Mahomes.
It's crazy. Like going back to just real quick, like the Commanders, right? So like they had to have known that like one of the first plays out of the gate was going to be a handoff to Saquon Barkley, and he let him take it 65 yards to the house. like that, like there's no way you don't know that's coming, and you still couldn't do not a lick about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree totally.
But, his Saquon Barkley's stat line at the beginning of the game was just like absurd. It was like two carries for 2 touchdowns and like 65 yards.
Yeah, his impact on this offense just speaks volumes, because I remember us previewing their first game of the year, week 1, when they played Green Bay in Brazil. And I said, look, Saquon's going to benefit so much from a way better offensive line and just way better players around him. And you couldn't ask for a better fit for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll be back here. We'll do episodes in between here, but we will preview Super Bowl 59 next week. We'll have a full episode. We'll bring up all the crew. We'll talk about the Super Bowl 59. Thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. We're going to get into some off-season stuff later this week as we look towards the future for some of these NFL teams as all of the seasons are over except for 2 teams in the NFL. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the carousel, coaching carousel sometime either this week or next week, as it looks like the Saints are prepared to hire Kellen Moore, but we'll see how that ends up working out. But yeah, this is Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David Huffman from the dailyblitz.blog. That's Mr. Christian Simpson. Christian, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, baby.
Yes, sir. And now just a quick message from our sponsor here at the Huddle Sports Network. We'll be back here tomorrow with another episode of the Prime. So just keep an eye out on your Facebook and your YouTube feed. So all that stuff. I'll see you later, brother.
Yep.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.